Program Director, distinguished guests, comrades and friends, a very, very good evening, and thank you so much for the opportunity to be part of this landmark celebration marking 70 years of the Black Sash's unwavering commitment to dignity, equality, and justice in South Africa. I would have loved to have been with you this evening, this very special evening. However, I am leading the South African delegation to the 2025 OECD Justice Leaders Dialogue and its Global Roundtable on Equal Justice, Equal Access to Justice in Madrid, Spain. But even here in Madrid, among the justice leaders from across the world, reflecting on the fundamental importance of access to justice, my heart and my thoughts are firmly anchored in the work of the Black Sash, whose daily efforts have made access to justice a living reality for millions of South Africans. For over 7 decades, the Black Sash has stood as a tireless advocate for social justice, walking alongside communities, challenging inequality, and building pathways to justice for those most in need. Its legacy reminds us that access to justice is not just a policy slogan, not merely rights written on paper, but a lived experience shaped by grassroots commitment, courage, and compassion. It's with immense pride and deep gratitude that we celebrate both the Black Sash and the inaugural Black Sash Human Rights Awards tonight. And indeed, this is more than an anniversary. It's a tribute to those who came before us, a recognition of the heroes among us, and a call to continue the unfinished work of justice. As we reflect and renew, let us honor the legacy of the Black Sash and celebrate the individuals and organizations, past and present, who have reshaped the human rights landscape of our nation. The Black Sash was born from quiet defiance that grew into a thunderous call for justice. That history is a remarkable history, and one of the books that enjoys pride of place on my bookshelf that deals with the history of our liberation struggle is this Black Sash, The Beginning of a Bridge in South Africa by Catherine Spark, with a foreword by Archbishop Desmond Tutu. And indeed, in 1955, 70 years ago, 6 remarkable women, Jean Sinclair, Ruth Foley, Elizabeth McLaren, Tertia Pybus, Jean Bosazza, and Helen Newton Thompson decided to stand against the erosion of South Africa's constitution. A constitution that at that stage in our history, sadly, was much more limited than the constitution that we fought so long and hard for and that we enjoy today. But nonetheless, it was the principle of upholding constitutionalism that united those fearless women. They wore black sashes not as a fashion, but as symbols of mourning the death of constitutional protection and the rise of apartheid's oppression. What began as the Women's Defense of the Constitution League soon became known simply and powerfully as the Black Sash. They did not shout, they did not storm, they stood, silent, dignified, unyielding. They stood outside Parliament, outside courts, at railway stations. They followed cabinet ministers with quiet resolve. They haunted injustice with grace and courage. And in doing so, they became a moral compass in a time of moral collapse. When Nelson Mandela and his comrades were sentenced to life imprisonment in 1964, the first Black Sash Advice Office opened in East London, offering hope and practical support to those oppressed by apartheid laws. Even when the Athlone Advice Office was raided, even when protests were banned, these women refused to be silenced. They defied unjust laws. They used their privilege not for comfort, but for justice. In 1985, they established the Black Sash Advice Office Trust, ensuring that their mission would endure. Their legacy teaches us that silence in the face of oppression is complicity, and that courage often wears the face of quiet, relentless resistance. These women were privileged by race, but not blinded by it. They chose to challenge the very system that benefited them. That choice was radical, that choice was brave, and that choice helped to change South Africa. At the dawn of democracy, the Black Sash did not fade. It evolved. It transformed from protest to advocacy, from vigils to paralegal support, from mourning to rebuilding and reconstruction and development. Today, it continues to fight for social justice, for access to grants, for constitutional rights, and for the dignity of every person. It reminds us that justice is not a moment, it's a movement. Access to justice is not a slogan, it's a lifeline. Too often, when we speak of justice, people think only of courts and laws. But true access to justice goes far deeper. It means that people must know their rights and how to exercise them. It means they must know where to go to resolve disputes and how to protect their rights when those rights are infringed. Without this knowledge, rights remain hollow, empty words on paper. We also know that access to justice is not equal. Many courts still lack adequate infrastructure. Many people cannot afford private legal services. Legal aid guaranteed in our Constitution remains essential, yet the demand for assistance far exceeds available resources. Here, pro bono practitioners, law clinics, civil society organizations play a vital role. They have driven landmark cases that have reshaped our laws and deepened our democracy. The Legal Practice Act and its community service provisions were designed to support this work. And today, we proudly have small claims courts in every magisterial district across the country. Expanding access to justice begins in the most marginalized communities and continues through public education and human rights awareness, through government outreach, Izimbizo, the National Schools Moot Court Competition, and National Wills Week. And most fundamentally, through community advice offices, where the Black Sash continues to shine as an example of a champion of justice. Community paralegals are often the first and only point of contact for justice in rural and impoverished areas. The Paralegal Manual, first developed in the early 1990s and updated again in 2025 by the Black Sash, the Education and Training Unit, Legal Fundi, and Social Change Assistance Trust, SCAT, is an invaluable tool. It provides simple, accessible guidance on legal rights and procedures, empowering community-based paralegals to navigate complex systems and advocate for vulnerable individuals. Its power lies not just in legal precision, but in moral purpose, bridging the gap between the law and lived experience. By equipping grassroots legal workers and activists, it strengthens participatory democracy and ensures that rights are not theoretical, but real. And I just want to add here that I was very glad personally to receive the Black Sash Paralegal Manual, and I wasted no time in making that manual available to the staff of my own parliamentary constituency office in Mitchell's Plain and forwarding it to the chief whip of the party that I belong to, the African National Congress, to distribute amongst the members of the ANC caucus, with a suggestion also that we broaden that to all members of parliament, because those constituency officers also must play their role in promoting access to justice. It's especially important because we live in a world and a country when justice is under siege. Populism, disinformation, and authoritarian nationalism are eroding faith in democratic institutions. The Ipsos Halifax Forum survey of 2024 shows that 76% of people worldwide see disinformation as a major threat, and over 70% fear violent conflict or cyber attack. In the 2025 Ipsos report, South Africans Uphold Human Rights, offers a remarkable insight that despite hardship and fatigue, 8 in 10 South Africans still believe in universal human rights and the rule of law, one of the highest endorsements anywhere in the world. This is both encouraging and, sadly, extraordinary. South Africans remain deeply committed to fairness and freedom of speech. They understand that rights must be balanced by responsibility. They expect accountability from government, yes, but also from the private sector. Trust is not built through promises, but through justice made visible. It is our hope. This is our hope. The moral center of South African society has not collapsed. Our people still believe in the promise of the Constitution, even when they sometimes doubt the institutions tasked with fulfilling that promise. The role of the Black Sash has never been more vital. It remains a crucial partner in the pursuit of justice and human rights. So tonight, let us celebrate not just what the Black Sash was, but what it is and what it will continue to be. Let us honor the woman who stood in silence so that others could speak. Let us recommit ourselves to their values, equality, justice, and the belief that even one voice raised in conscience can change the world. To the inaugural Human Rights Award recipients, you are the heartbeat of our democracy. Your courage reminds us that change is not only possible, it is already happening because of you. You represent the best of us,